any questions comes up during we are talking, demonstrating, please ask them. Just raise your hand and let us know. To my good self, and I know for Lola as well, over all the years I've been working with my mediumship, in my early days at developing, I became very much aware of the difference between the psychic and the mediumship. But we have to accept that not everybody is quite sure about what is the difference. So how many of you are quite sure about what is the difference?
Not sure.
1, 2. Kind of, yes. So there's definitely a reason to talk about it, isn't there? First of all, I want to talk about a little bit about the differences. As you all probably are aware of, that we all have this energetic field around us. We call it the aura. Is everybody familiar with that? One form or another, have a knowledge, some kind of it. This magnetic field, our aura, that is our diary. You know that? Every memory, every action we have had during our life, isn't that? And that means a good psychic can read you everything about your life. Yeah? Bit scary sometimes, isn't it? And that's why, of course, there's a lot of ethic and morale when we're working with these things. But that also means when we are leaving this physical life, this aura, our continuous life, that I believe we all can agree is there. Life never stops. It's a continuous life. Our soul, our aura will continue its life. But that means that all our memories that is in our diary, they will continue. And when we are leaving this physical life, we do have the ability to still communicate with that energy, as well as we have here as living physical beings. The difference is, while we are incarnate, we have a physical voice. Yeah? So, if we look a little bit about the purpose of the psychic versus the purpose of the evidential mediumship. When we are looking at the psychic reading, what a good psychic can do, as we talked about, they can read our energy. And that means they can read every memory, whatever happens in our life. They can tell us all that we know already. Yeah? Some says they can predict the future. I don't believe that, to be honest. But there's different opinions about that. I do have my truth, but maybe not the truth for everybody to hold. But what's important here is reading our energy. They can talk about our physical condition. They can talk a little bit about our mental condition. They can talk about our childhood, our work situation, our love life, and all these things. And all what we already know. Can that be evidential? Yeah, I believe it can. It can be evidential about us. And the psychic reading becoming evidential about us is not evidential about the spirit world, the discarnated world. And we have to remember that. I'll come back to why. So when we are reading somebody psychically, we can tell them anything about themselves. We can even tell them about their loved ones, but it's not here anymore. We can tell them about all the memories about them. Doesn't mean that we have a communication with their loved ones. It just means that we can read our recipient's energy. And every good psychic can tell you about your loved ones, your memories about them, how they looked, how your relationship was, and all that. But that doesn't mean that they have a communication. To have that communication, we need that loved one from spirit. And there, it will become a different kind of evidence. Because when we are working with spirit that way, we'll bring forward that loved one. I know a few of you are working with your mediumship. And bring forward that loved one. We will, as a medium, can feel them, see them, hear them, maybe not objective, but subjective. And that just means that we don't see them as we see each other, we don't hear them as we hear each other, but we do see them for our inner eye, we hear them as a thought coming in, a voice in our head. So that's basically the energy we are reading, hearing. What we are going to do as mediums when we're working with evidential mediumship is bring in evidence of the loved one. Not about you as a recipient, right? But bringing forward evidence from the loved one. So that means it's a lady or man. That's always a good place to start, isn't it? Then we can talk about whatever they come with. Can be maybe a little bit about the look, maybe a little bit about the work, about the health, about the shared memories, all different kind of things. But those evidence should relay to the loved one. What we sometimes see is that the psychic and the mediumship is being mixed up a little bit, because we as mediums if we're not totally aware of where we're getting the information from. It's not necessary, and not to point fingers of any mediums, but just a fact, and we see it sometimes, that it's been put, as psychic readings often are being put forward as evidential mediumship reading. So it can be like, so Andy, I just use you as an example if that's okay.
That's fine.
So Andy, you understand there, Andy, that you have a gentleman in spirit that is connected very close to you.
Yeah.
Yes, on father's side, I have to say that you understand that.
I do.
Yes. And you know, your father is talking about you here, and he's talking about the joy you have in life and the joyful Christmas you just have had. Yes.
Yeah.
Father just going directly talking about Andy, not proving himself at all. Only evidence you have that I told you I'm aware of a gentleman.
That's right.
Yes. No evidence of spirit, but just going directly to speak to. And your father is talking to you your father is talking to you about the new glasses you just have been looking at. You understand that, and a bit different shape and with a little bit of color. You understand that?
Yes.
Yes. I'm not getting this from your father,
No.
but you understand the information.
Yes.
I'm just going into Andy's energy. I'm not aware of his father at all. Not at all. I'm just going into your energy.
Yeah.
And as a sensitive medium, you will probably feel my energy, like coming into your energy. But if I can change a little bit and say, because I have the opportunity to invite Andy's dad to come. Okay. So Andy, would you understand with your dad here? Would you understand when he passed? I feel like, I have to say it's a feeling, but I feel like I have been in my 60s, mid 60s, around that age when I passed. You understand? Yes. And you know, and when I do feel your dad here, I feel him. I feel, would you understand there with him as well, there was a condition with his lungs and his breathing, because I can feel like when I'm blending with his energy, I can feel like I need to do an effort to breathe here, and this has to do with his passing. You understand that, and I do know with your dad here, as I'm working with him, that he was a man that wasn't afraid to use his voice.
That's right.
And I'm not sure if he was working with mediumship or anything like that, but he would like to be on a platform like here.
In a way, yes.
Yes, yeah, I'm saying I'm not sure if he was a working medium or anything like that, but I feel that his personality would like to stand here. Is the feeling he's bringing forward to me here. But okay, but you also understand here, and the okay, you also understand here here with okay. I can see you are well shaped, but would you understand at times your father would have a bit of a beard?
Not him, no.
Not him.
No.
Okay, bear with me. But you must understand, if not him, somebody close to him must have a beard, and somebody that is with him in spirit.
Yes.
Would that be his father?
I don't know what he looks like, but I do know somebody else.
You don't know? Okay.
Yeah.
I just feel this is a close connection.
Yeah, it would be close, yes.
Close connection and a close family connection there. And the two of them are together. And okay. And you would yeah, okay, you would understand here. Okay. Yes. And would you understand here as well? And I'll just try to finish him off here, because I know he could keep on all evening here, the way he's going forward. But must understand here as well. Going through last Christmas here, there has been a lot of thoughts sent to him,
Yes.
and there has been. I feel like there was space for me at the table.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, there was a space for me at the table. So if you can just leave the love of your father with you there, and okay, and you know, your father has a sense of humor as well, because he's talking about it. Yeah. This bloke here talked about new glasses. You could need them, because you have to look for the new shoes as well.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So it's just it's just again from him becoming aware of your life. Okay. So we can just leave him with you there. But just an example to a bit of the difference. I don't know how many could feel the difference between when I linked in cycling with Andy and brought forward his father there. And obviously I know a little bit about Andy. First time we have met in real life, so we really don't know each other, do we? No. It's good. But the main thing here is the psyche. What's the purpose of the psyche? Is primarily to give us advice in life. Okay. So when we go to a psyche, it's often because when people are visiting psyche, it's often because we want to hear about is there a new job for me? Is there a new partner for me? What I'm going to do next week, and things like that. What we have to be aware of is, with the psychic, what we're actually asking for is the psychic's opinion of our life. Nothing wrong with that. That can be a really good tool, and it can be really helpful with a good psychic. When we are talking about the loved ones can bring forward advice for our life as well. But that should be an expression of the loved one. I'm quite sure, and would it be right saying that your dad would have some kind of interest in shoes. Might sound weird, but
There would be a story about that, yes.
yes. So there's a reason for why he is spring forward the shoes. It's an expression of him. Yeah. So, and your father will probably not come and say, "Oh, Andy, I'll talk to you about you need to align your chakras and things like that," because no. So it's this fine balance. This when we are working, where are we getting the information from? So, want to add?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Lola, and again I'm Danish, so if you don't understand it quite, just raise your hands and ask again. I think it's very important also to address about the message when we have a communicator, because sometimes my father died of a drug overdose, and we had a good time, me and my father. I'm not a drug addict, but we had a good time. But as soon as a medium pick up a drug overdose, they will say, "Oh, and your father come here and tell me he's so sorry. He's sorry for the way he lived his life. He's sorry that he treated you this way. He's sorry for whatever." And I will think, no, because we talked about that, and he knew he was an alcoholic and addict. So it would not make sense that he came to me and say, "I'm sorry. I had a good life. My father, I didn't live with my father. I just knew him when I was older. So that was okay. I had accepted that, and that was his way of life. And he said to me, this was my way of life, and that was it." So, but when the medium turns in psychic, I am sorry that we didn't have that time together when I was younger, because he was a funny man, and he was very good at telling stories and so and so and so. But he wasn't, because that was his way of living, and he chose that way. That maybe sounds hard, but that was how it was. So when we have to take care of that, we take the message from the spirit and not from our hearts, if that makes sense to anybody. I think that's very much important. And when I pass, I will come to my daughter, I hope so, with a medium. And if the medium starts to say, "Oh, your mother is telling me here about your auras," I would stand beside and say, "What? No, I'm not. Why should I? Why should I do that?" You know, so we have to be very aware where we pick up the information. That's very important. Now we have, as medium, we have a very lovely, how can you tell it, work. We are blending the two worlds. And when they're finally together in the space, let them talk. Please let them talk. That's so important with all the, yeah. So just, just be aware of, if you hear something, we can all have a very, very off day, or be very, very nervous, or when we have clients as a medium. So we sometimes do psychic work, just to, maintain the balance. But especially in the message, I will say, it's very important to let the other side speak and come through what, when I'm passing, when I go over and come to my daughter, I really hope that the medium don't start talking psychic instead. We have such a beautiful work here, so stay on track. Yeah.
And this is not to talk down the psychic. Many people have done that during the years, as I say.
No.
It's not because one is better than the other. They're just different.
Yes.
Both are beautiful, powerful tools we can use in our life. What's important to me is that we as mediums, we as psychics, really educate ourselves, and that's a lifelong education. Don't stop just because I'm getting bookings on the platform. We should, in my opinion, we should continue our development. And the case is, if we are not quite sure where we're getting the information about, we should go on new courses. We should develop our mediumship, our psychic. And as I said, I don't care if people are doing psychic or mediumship, as long as we are honest about it. Just address it. Can we mix the two of them? Of course we can. We just need to be clear about it. Like I did with Andy, I started just going in on a cycling, and I have to say, both Lola and myself, we are developed mediums, but as great Gordon Higginson had said many times during time, all mediums are psychics, but not all psychics are mediums, and that's not to make one better than the other. It's just a fact. Just a fact. But the case is, the honesty, if you're doing one or another, really doesn't matter. As long as we are honest about it. And we are striving to be as good as what we are doing as we can. Yeah. And I think, wait, seriously? Okay. Just speaking a bit Danish here. But the case is that if we are not clear about it, it's and I have to say, if mediums is sitting out there thinking, "Oh, I'm not quite sure," it's not your fault. It's really not your fault. It comes down to the tutors of mediumship, the tutors of psychic. We're coming from Denmark. In Denmark, most schools in Denmark are psychic schools, with a bit of mediumship as a side order. And that's actually sad, I think, because I was told many years ago, "Oh, you can't be a medium before you have taken psychic courses." I was like, "Oh, sorry, nobody told me." I did. But I also have heard the other way around over here. "Oh, you can't do psychic without being mediumship." That is wrong as well. But and the case is, for both the psychic and the mediumship, we are using our senses. We are using our psychic senses, our ability to see, to hear, to feel, to taste, to smell, aren't we? It's just a different focus, at different places we are getting the information from. And I think that's important, not only as mediums, but also as a recipient. That we know as a recipient, what are we actually watching? What are we listening to? What am I being given? Is this coming from the person, psychic, medium, whatever they are, or it's actually coming from spirit? We often hear that I've had psychic readings where I've been so, "Oh, and spirit says," but I'm like, what? Who is spirit? I don't know spirit. If I'm going to have a message from my daughter, I need evidence to tell me that is my daughter. Evidence can be many things. It can be factual evidence, it can be phone numbers, it can be names, it can be whatever. It can also be emotional evidence, and it can be emotional. It can be physical evidence as well. So. Have you found one to do a quick psychic reading?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So, Lola, just do a quick.
Oh, this is hard. I'm normally used to work with spirit, so try to get them off.
Channel says is to keep spirit out because we're used to work with spirits.
So, yes. Can I come to you? You have been through a development. I know that, and I know that things have changed for you. You have coming from being very inwards. Do you understand this? Very still very quiet, very into yourself, and trying to come out now because it's important for you. It's like you're setting a new way of living, and I feel here that it's a slow process, but it's good for you, and it's I feel you have some luck with it, and there's it's kind of doors are opening, but you step out of the door. Does this make sense?
Yes.
I think I have the I'm actually also feeling a bit confused about which way to choose. Does this make sense? It feels like you putting cards on the table. I see cards on the table, like not tarot card, but I don't mean tarot card, but I mean there are more ways, like which row should I choose? Sometimes you give up and say, I can blend the two and do it your own way. Does this make sense? I feel there is still, if I may, backholding. Some days, what I mean with giving up, I feel there are days when you want to give up and just redraw, go back and just shut the doors. I think that's the word.
I say never give up.
Yes, okay. So let me rephrase this. Sorry. I feel now this is a new way for you. It's a new way to go out. So sometimes when I go into your energy, I feel like sometimes I need to stop this because sometimes it feels too much, too much energy, too open. Does this make sense for you?
Sometimes.
Okay, thank you. Hope you can take that. Maybe I rephrased it wrongly. But you got the power. You got the power to stand on your both two legs. You just need to do that more. Do you understand what I say? And trust yourself and get out there. That's it. Second.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Yes, and that's an example of a cycle. Should I do one as well? Would anybody like a short psychic reading? Just wave at me.
Yes.
Nobody. Ted.
Yes.
Ted, my good man. I know you by name. I've met you a couple of times here, but I really don't know anything about you. You understand that? Okay. Let me see here. Yes. Oh. Okay, so Ted, would you understand when I'm reading your energy here? Would you understand? I want to go quite a few years back with you here, okay? Yes, and I want to go back to your younger days, and I think it's as you look around mid-20s, around your 30s. You understand why I'm putting my attention to that area of your life, and I will be right saying around that age there was a bit of a life-changing activities in your life, if you can put this way, and I feel like it was in several different parts of your life. Yes, and it's okay. And let me see here. And I feel one of the big things was work-wise. It was like you were changing a career in life. Would you understand that? Yeah. Yes. And right saying here when I'm looking at you, Andy, that was quite beneficial for you. Yes, and that made a quite new foundation for you in your life. It brought safety into your life. It brought stability into your life. Does that make sense when I put it this way? I have to say, I feel like you became very strong. You became very confident in it. Yes, where you earlier in your life has been a little bit withdrawn, a little bit. Yeah, but it's this feeling I'm getting when I'm with you here. That change that really brought Ted forward. Where Ted could be a little bit withdrawn. Is probably not the right word, but that's the feeling I'm getting when I'm touching your energy. But I also can see both on your physical, but also in your energy, that you're actually quite still going strong, still. Yes, and I feel like there's a big connection these days to that time in your life where you took decisions, where you changed your life, where you brought that power into your life. That power you are connecting back to. You understand that? And that's one of the things that still keeps you strong. Both in heart and in mind. You understand that? Yes. And okay. And what I would like to say what I would like to say to you here to finish this on, just continue with that. Keep letting the thoughts going back to that time, and bring that bring your former life. Continue bringing your former life into your life these days. As you do, continue with that, because that really gives you so much. I feel I want to say give you energy and give you healing. Okay. I do hope it makes sense to you. Okay. So thank you for letting me work in with you there. Yes. So listen, no spirit present there. It's a pure connection with Ted's energy there, and that can be joyful. That can be evidential. It can be helpful. It can be many things, but it can be the same, and we'll bring the spirit in. So I'm going to do that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, as I was sitting here, I was aware of a elderly man. He was a quite big man, and I think he passes in when he was about 70, mid 70. I know this man was a big man, but also in character, and he was a great speaker, and he liked to entertain people around him and make sure that people around him had a good time, was feeling relaxed. I know he was very fond of food, and I know there was a butcher around where he lived. Does anybody know a man like that? Knew a man like that? I will work on. I know this man. Sometimes I see him in a vest. Yes.
West Coast.
Yeah, that thing. And I know he liked to be nice dressed. He was a nice dressed man. And I know he was a bit of a. He comes in. I know he likes to, again, tell stories, but he has a very nice sense of humor, and often like to. Yeah, I feel I want to entertain. Yes. Is this I cannot ask. I feel this is a grandfather. I feel because I feel of his waistcoat and his.
He was a grandfather, not mine.
Okay, thank you. And he likes to, and he did like to entertain.
He was an entertainer.
Oh, okay, because yes, but also in the family.
Yeah.
He was always the center of attention,
Yeah.
and if he wasn't, he would be that. He would surely make sure that he was. He didn't like when people were sad.
No.
Then he suddenly we must have fun. It was not because he just liked when people were happy.
Yeah.
He just liked to elevate people in and does it do you know the butcher shop around? I feel it's not far from there because he was very. I get my food from the butcher shop.
I'm not sure about the butcher shop.
Okay, but he did love food,
Yeah.
and he make big feasts. I think it is.
Mhm.
Yes, and also entertainment, and he liked to invite people in.
Yeah.
And there was always loads of people in his home and around him. Yes. He liked to be remembered.
Yeah.
Yes, because he just. Oh yes, I remembered. I am remembered. That is. Mhm. He's coming here to tell you that it's okay to entertain. It's okay to be out there, and it's very. You have to be out there, yeah. You have to be out there to help people,
Okay.
to elevate people's mood because you're very good at that. But now you're very still. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Too still, yeah.
Okay.
So get out there. People really need your. People need to be happy again. He's telling me about. There is somebody around you who has a very rough time, and they could need some entertainment, upliftment. And yes, the elevate that would be very nice for you. Yeah, just hear their voices. Yeah. You know, entertainment is love. That's the same, and you can not to drown in it.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Or he will come and help you. You just call on me, and I push the energy.
Okay.
That's what that was what he would do when he was alive.
Yeah, I think he does help you.
So just call me. I'll be there.
Thank you.
But lots of love.
Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you, Lola. So, hopefully we have been able to put forward a bit more understanding of the difference and maybe why it's important sometimes to actually have a thought about where is this information coming from. And I think we can open up for the questions now as well. If any questions, otherwise we can say lovely to see you tonight. So, for whatever questions you may have according to the subject, please come with them, and if we have any online as well. So,
Yes, tarot card readers.
yes.
Do you feel that they tend to be working off a psychic more than spiritually, or do they wait for someone to come into their energy field and then work both ways?
I feel very much on a psychic link. Very much on a psychic link. It can be tarot cards. It can be silk band. It can be stones with runes. It can be whatever tool we use. Not say that we can't work with loved ones, with cards and things, but most of what I have seen, most of what I have seen have been more on a psychic link, and it's often what I've experienced during the years is have people coming for sittings. Oh, but where are you getting the information from? Oh, from here. And they're like, oh, what? But if I'm taking a card or a ribbon or something, I say, oh, I can see it here. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. So sometimes we can have people that needs us to say, oh, I'm getting from some solid thing. It can be even, but I can see here when you look. I can see your loved ones here. Of course, I can't. But some recipients have that need of a card or something else. But mostly, to answer your question, mostly what I have seen over the nearly 30 years I have been in this business, it's psychic mostly. I do it when I'm teaching. I'm using cards, ribbons, and things like that as a practice to get started working with the senses. But when we are working with mediumship, I think we should, just my opinion, but I think we should let go of that and work purely with spirit, because that's where our attention should be. Our attention shouldn't be in a card or anything else. Okay? Again, that's my opinion. There might be others that have different opinions of it. But in my experience, mostly psychic. Again, said not only though. Yeah.
Can I join in?
Good?
Can I join in?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not used to sitting here quietly. I'm not finding this comfortable in the slightest.
That would be the first time.
Yeah, we're in a very long time. I find it, just linking in the question there about cards and this is psychic or whatever, this subject isn't sort of able to be put in a definitive fashion. It is either, you know, because our unfoldment and our development is all at different stages. We see an awful lot of people want to become a medium and will pursue that relentlessly, and then ask the question, well, why is my mediumship not developing? And my response is, who told you you're a medium? We're not all going to be evidential mediums, but we all have that ability with the psychic. But when we're beginning with things, I started, I don't know if you guys did, when we started doing like private sit-ins, I would use cards, oracle cards, because there would be something in there, because I'm sitting there, say with you, Sue, I'll use you as an example. When I'm sat with Sue, Sue, so many Sues. But when I'm sat with Sue here as a reader, you're starting to unfold and open up your energies. So on that energetic level, I'm going to pick up things from Sue, but working on inviting spirit in. But psychic readings, I think, and especially for people who are new to the movement of spiritualism, I would recommend people have a psychic reading to begin with, because it's more personal, it's more understandable, it's more relatable than bringing through a spirit communication. And I'm not being demeaning here. All right, we've all got people that we miss dearly. If everybody in the room gave your opinion of your description of Jack, we would have all these different descriptions. So there's this huge field of error, of misunderstanding. I see a fish, I'm going to say a cod. Well, actually, I should have said fish. A psychic reading is ideal for people first venturing into the movement to start to understand, because it is relatable to you. It is about you. You mentioned earlier on about not predicting the future. Well, we all know that some people do undertake that. We can't predict to the letter, I don't believe, but if you are a very adept psychic reader, you will see energies and people that would suggest a future path. But getting back to the question there, the cards primarily are a psychic tool. If you continue on the psychic path with them, great, do a psychic reading. I have no issue with psychics. I love it. I love using it myself with people. But it's another step on to understanding spiritualism then from that, getting that knowledge and the evidence of the one creative force that makes all things possible. Oh God, I need more aspirin. More all things possible. So we're not knocking psychic, but just be honest about it. Just be honest about it. If you're going to bring, a good medium will bring that person through. A good medium, when they're delivering an evidential reading, the sitter will feel that person, because that level of connection is strong there. And a good psychic reading can actually help you really sort out a few issues in your life, and because if you hear from a third party saying, yeah, do you know what, you are so stubborn. I can see, in your energy there is this huge stubborn streak. Yeah, maybe I am. And you don't know what that's going to start undoing, maybe. I'll go away now. Sorry. I'll go back to the computer. Bye.
Yeah, and if I could just shortly add to it, of course there's always difference if we're working from platformer and one-to-one readings. And sure, you can use cards and things, as I said, to work with evidential mediumship, but we just still need to bring the evidence. That I think that was what I tried to get across before. So that's important, that we bring evidence from whoever we work with, and really doesn't matter. And we will. It's always good through our development as mediums to go through different psychic exercises as well. It's all about train our senses, develop our senses. And we should try to work with both one and another to learn to know the difference as well. Because how can we know about the difference if we're only working with one of them? Yeah. So yeah. Ted.
I was going to ask, as we all come from spirit,
Yes.
do we all have the potential to be mediums? Or is it that for most people, they never come across the spirit world or spirit So they go through their life ignorant of the spirit they've got.
Um, which number?
Nej, overhovedet ikke. Jeg forstår.
Okay. If I can put this way, as I mentioned before, we all have the senses.
Yeah.
We all have the opportunity to have one kind of one sort of communication with spirits. Doesn't mean that we all has the ability to be mediums,
No.
but we all have the ability to communicate with spirits. And I think there is more in it than just say, oh, I can talk to spirit, I'm a medium. In a way, we are all mediums, yes. But to bring forward loved ones and things like that, it's I see it little bit like a craft. I'm a builder. Have always been really good with my hands. That's an ability and a gift I has. Yeah, I've trained trained that craft, become better and better, as a builder. Yeah, the same thing with my mediumship. I have the gift of working with spirit, as we all have in one form or another. And I have an ability to speak, give spirit a voice.
Yeah.
I took a choice at the one time in my life
Yeah.
to start train that, develop that, as well as I did with craft many years ago,
Yeah.
becoming better and better. And if you think about it, if I can say everybody has the potential to be a medium, yeah, maybe everybody have a potential. I can't say that for sure, but I know it takes some dedication. It takes a lot of training, education, and if you think about it, how many of you are going to music concerts, one form or another, from time to time? Yeah. Trust me, none of those musicians sitting up there has just said, oh, I just noticed I can play music. I'm going up on the big stage, earning a lot of money. They use hours and hours every day to practice, to educate themselves, to learn more about music, yeah. And I see mediumship a little bit the same way.
Yes.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. So yes, short, yes, I think we all have an ability to talk with spirit. Does that mean we are all mediums? Kind of, but to be a medium is like being in the middle. Not everybody has the potential for that, or the personality, if I can put it that way, or the ego, especially getting on the platform. It takes an ego. We have to be honest about that. To do one setting can maybe take a smaller ego, but it still needs an ego, because I want to perform one way or another, either with my psychic or with my mediumship. Yeah. But at one point, if we want to go that way, it's our choice to go that way, and to start to learn more, to educate ourselves, find a good tutor, find some circles, home circles, and different things. Maybe going to a local church, seek some service, some things, joining a workshop or two for a start. I hope that answered your question.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Could I just give an example of that as well, about whether you develop or not? I've got two sisters, one's a twin.
Yeah.
And the twin, she thinks I'm cuckoo. She thinks I've gone to a funny church. She don't believe in it whatsoever.
I think you're cuckoo.
I
have evidence on camera.
The other one, the old one, nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And me, I developed it because I was meant to in some way.
Yeah.
And it's meant to be, I suppose. Yeah. But it just shows the difference between a family situation.
Yeah.
One's completely doesn't want to know. The other one sees it, hears it, but just bypass it. Doesn't want to get involved. And then there's me sitting in the middle, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it can sort of. Are you born into it? I think it's like you said. It's the development. It's like good swimmers and bad swimmers.
Yeah.
You can develop it if you want
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. And one now you mentioned a good swimmer, a bad swimmer. One thing is for sure: if you don't practice swimming,
Yeah.
you will never be a good swimmer.
I just think.
Yes, I mean. So we have to start somewhere. Definitely.
Lawrence begins.
Yes.
Sorry, just to bring in again on that topic, it's about communication, evidential communication. It's very much a state of mind in my book because we've got so much societal pressure, so much religious pressure that many of the orthodox religions will not, if you went to a priest or a vicar and said, oh, I talk to dead people, you would probably be re-educated very sternly. So I think the actual ability to become part of the presence of the Spirit is within everybody's ability. To relay communication from discarnate spirits to incarnate spirits is something that will need a lot of work. And also, is it actually in part of your journey here? Is that part of your progression? We've all come here to learn, to grow, to experience different things. We're spiritualists, and spiritualism is our world, but it's not everybody's world. And we understand that. So we can sit with the Spirit. And I know you do with your healing. This is what you're doing. You're communing with Spirit. So you are being that medium. But it's understanding the phrase as well as medium. The medium is the interface. So you're sitting and communing with Spirit when you sit there every night with your healing. You're not practicing evidential mediumship. You're not coming out with messages. You're not knocking on your neighbours saying, oh, I've got Gordon here. So we've all got that ability to commune with Spirit for our own sense of purpose. Evidential mediumship needs to be in our energy, needs refining, dedication, continual improvement.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Got that?
Yes.
I'll shut up now.
And if I can say, sometimes when we're talking about developing our mediumship, we are often talking about going circles, taking courses and things like that. I think sometimes we have to remember, I can use myself as an example, my journey, my education, my development as a medium started many years before I actually became aware of what is mediumship. It's during my work life. One thing is, as a builder, I was self-employed builder for many years, coming out, meeting people, talking to people. I have a military background, where I became a group leader, I became platoon leader, I became captain, education officer. I learned to stand in front of several hundred of people. That's, for me, has been a great preparation for my work as a medium as well. It has been giving me confidence. It means that I'm not afraid of standing up in front of you good people, speaking my truth. So it's developing mediumship is not only sitting in a classroom. It's about living life as well. I guess the same as a psychic. What we have to think about, and it doesn't matter if we work as a psychic or as a medium, what we're actually using when we are reading, feeling energies, and putting those energies into words. That all that we have on the shelves in our brain. That's all our life experiences. So when we're getting that, if we're getting from a recipient or getting it from spirit, that energy, we will put words on that energy out from our knowledge, out from our life experiences. But doesn't mean that we can't talk about things that we haven't experienced. It's just much easier to put words on the things we know of. If we, Lola gave an example. She had a dad that was an alcoholic and a drug addict. That means she have a lot of knowledge of that type of personality. So it's a thing that's easy to work with. It's not. I have a bit of knowledge. I can work with it as well, but not as much. So it's not as easy for me to find the words. Talking about motorbikes. In my younger days, I was driving a lot of motorbikes and things. Young men died on motorbikes. Yes, I haven't experienced it myself, but I have sadly lost a lot of friends that way. So I have some knowledge about it. I have a knowledge about the brands of motorbikes, how big is the engine, and these sort of things, so I can bring forward those information because I have it somewhere in here. Does that make sense? So I think we have to remember, the more knowledge we gain through life, the broader the aspect we can work with, we will have. And that even if we are working mediumistic or we are working on the psychic. So, yes. Good lady. Hey.
May I ask, please, if somebody has such a heightened psychic awareness that it's just a part of who they are and it's there all the time and it rarely tones down, if they want to get a balance so that they can develop mediumship for whatever reason, whether it's healing or communications or sittings, how can they tone down the psychic a little bit to be able to develop that other side?
Yes, and that's actually a really good question. And I have met a lot of people in that situation. And for those online, the question is about when somebody have their psychic energy is wide open and being there all the time. How can they adjust it so they've been able to develop it? Basically, first of all, find a good teacher that have an understanding of our own energy. There is some simple exercises, not necessarily easy exercises, but simple exercises about being aware of your own energy and kind of put your own energy in. A lot of people is actually going around, and probably some of you as well, going around with the energy out all the time and just checking there, going up the high street. Oh, there was one with a bad shoulder. Oh, there was one with a headache. There was one with a bad knee. When they get into the end of the high street, they can't hardly work anymore because everything is in pain, and not realizing it's not their own. It's what they're picking up from people around them. Oh, there's somebody sad there who, and they can't control. They can't control their emotions. They can't control their pains and all these things because they don't realize it's not their own. And if they do, they don't know what to do about it. So it's very much about come back to being aware of where does it, because basically it's all information. It's all energy. It's all information. Where does it come from? So the simple, not saying easy way, the simple way is become aware of our own energy. And if we try to look at our own energy as a big balloon, we know what happens with a balloon when we blow a lot of air in it, doesn't it? Became quite electric. It draws everything to it. It's the same, exact same happens with our energy. If we just pull all the air, if we pull all the air out of the balloon, it won't become static anymore. It will be quite solid actually, and we won't feel anything and everybody around us anymore. I said, it's simple exercises, not necessarily easy, because if we're one of these persons that goes around with our energy out here, we have done that all our life probably. So we have to change what we have done all our life. We all know how difficult that can be. Yeah. I hope this might make sense to you.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you want to learn more about it, there will be opportunities here in the church.
Thank you.
So, I just started the advert there.
I'm going to add to that. I'm going to get barred from these nights, I can see that coming up. When you say you're so psychic and you're picking up everything, think of it another way, you're an empath. And empaths are a nuisance, aren't they, Donna? Yes, because they walk through a room and they pick up everything. Alright? Nice little easy technique. Sit in your own power, push it all the way out, and then bring it right the way back in. And bring it in, and bring it in, and bring it in. And just leave it there. Empaths are great, they are brilliant. And it's odd because we would sit to develop, so we would sit to open up different parts of ourselves. Empaths have got to come from the other side and sit to shut down parts of themselves to bring that in. But it's got a very useful tool. Empaths are great negotiators, great counsellors, but everything is a double-edged sword. You can also just walk through a room, come out and just think, oh my God, you know, I just feel like I've been through the mill because you picked up whatever. So it's just bringing it back in, little techniques. Have a chat with me anytime. I'll shut up now, Jack. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
You
No
can tell
problem.
me to shut up.
I
Great
just said
glasses at me, I don't mind.
it's possibilities to learn more about here in the church. So yeah. So a good man.
So when you're working, how are you aware yourself of which you are using? Whether you're using your mediumistic or you're using psychic, or when it changes? How are you aware?
It's a feeling. It's where I put my attention. If I put my attention to you, I will probably look quite a lot directly on you. I will like. Now we're talking about expanding and withdrawing our energy. I will focus my energy to go down, meeting your energy. That conscious, I will do that. Some people does that. It's kind of thing we do quite natural, all of us. Picking up on the psychic. But when I'm doing in this environment, I will focus my energy towards your energy. When I'm working with spirit, I'll make sure I cut that connection. And why spirit to come in. Mostly when I'm working with loved ones with spirit, I will have them here. And that's why you will see when I'm working with spirit, I will turn a bit of the side to you, because I don't want to interact with your energy, even though I have to interact with you because I need to hear you say yes and no and things. Or the loved one does. So I kind of what I do as well is
Step away.
maybe not always, but if I have, for example, somebody sitting just in front of me, I'll go to the side of the platform because I want to step away from their energy. I'm quite conscious about where I am with my own energy, where am I connecting with my energy. I know sometimes there have been taken pictures of me working with mediumship on platform, and I'm always standing like this on pictures. I don't know why. They're always catching me in that situation, but it tells me that okay, I'm working with the energy out here. And simple. I'm not aware of it when I do it. I just see picture after picture after picture, and I'm sure I'm not standing like this all the time. but it seems like that's the time the pictures has been taken. But I also know that it makes sense to me that I turn my direction to spirit. So, like, I'm a little bit between you and spirit here, so I turn a little bit. So, okay, I'm talking spirit here, I'm talking to you here. Does it make sense?
It does, yeah.
And I can feel within the energy when I'm working on the psychic, it feels like kind of flat feeling. It's like, it's to me, it feels like a bit of hard work. Working with spirit, it comes to life. It comes to life. This is fun. So there's a difference within the energy I'm interacting with as well. Yeah, it's a short explanation.
Makes sense.
Yes, okay. So,
Got an online question.
yes?
Two-parter. How did you know the time was right to develop your mediumship? And also, how do you deal with other people's negative views towards spiritualism?
Okay. How did you know when to develop your mediumship?
I just knew it. Just there was an opportunity, so I took it. I think, and I had time for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just blah, 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 blah. I went to different teachers. With I think a gap of 5 years between, and I just didn't feel we didn't have the connection, or I didn't learn enough. So I started 6 years ago in a circle with in Jack's circle, and said, now we're working. You just know when you are in the right place. It's just like click. Here we go. Yeah. I felt it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
say.
and to myself, I have to say, I came from a place, talked about builder, military background, things like spirit, communication, and something. Go somewhere else with it, and things happened in my life. My awareness changed, and suddenly I went on a summer school where I have heard about the wonderful meditations, but I didn't know that time that mediumship didn't mean meditation. So I was caught up in it, and just had to give in because there was some experiences there. So from there on, it just went fast. So I chose at that time to say, okay, this is interesting. I need to know more about it. So I started to book a few more workshops and going to Otto Finley College, and after Otto Finley College I was around Eastbourne, Folkestone, Wales, different places to go on courses and things like that. So yeah, that was.
Yeah, I think it's very important is when you find the right tutor, because I also have the sense where always, but you know, when the right teacher meets you, you would like to say, oh, I can communicate with them and speak it out and work with them. That's nice. And you just have to, that spark, it just has to be ignited. And you know.
I think too, you've got to have, the inception's got to come from, in my opinion, from within you.
Yeah.
Because you are going to silently say to spirit, you know what, I feel like I want to learn more, I want to
Yeah.
grow. And when you put out that thought, energy follows
Yeah.
thought. You know, because sometimes from the question there, it's sort of like asking, well, you know, is there a certain sign that this is your time to develop?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
the sign is
yeah.
inside.
That's
You
the-
go,
Yeah, yeah.
I think I should
Yeah.
explore this.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't like there was a man coming with a sign. You need to start to develop.
You're a medium.
Yes. And it's not necessarily just because a medium or a psychic tells you, oh, you're a medium, you should
No.
start to develop. It really has to be in you. It has to be a decision to take. Often, I know for a start for many people, and I know it's different here in UK than Denmark because you have churches in every corner. We don't have that. We don't have that. We have to create it all ourselves in all respect. But you are so lucky over here at the church. You can go down to church. You can join a service. You can join a circle. It's easy to find here. And just kind of taking the opportunity when you feel it there. I know what happened for me when my awareness changed. It was to do with the passing of a loved one of mine. Traumatic kind of thing that happened for me at that time, and it changed my awareness. And I hear from a lot of people in Denmark, and I don't know if it's the same here, but often some things happens in people's life that change their awareness one way or another, and I think that's, even though that we maybe always have had it from childhood and things, just suddenly something happens that makes us look different on life.
Definitely. I mean,
yeah.
this time, 2020, and all that entailed and ensued from there on in, has seen a resurgence, not only in spiritualism, but in a lot of the Orthodox religions, a lot of the Eastern philosophies, because we've all suddenly had our existence challenged, our mortality raised consciously. You know, where we've looked at our partners and thought, what would I do if you weren't here? What would you do if I wasn't here? And it's made people ask questions. It's made people start to examine and try and understand more. You know, because spiritualism isn't about talking to the dead, it's about living this life. If you understand and really get that concept that, you know, life is continual, that we go through many different lives, incarnations, whatever your philosophies take you along, that doesn't mean this life is disposable and throw away, far from it. This life is so precious and valuable because we've elected to be here, we've chosen to be here at this time. And I know a lot of us are thinking, well, I wouldn't have chosen this. Yeah, in this state of mind, no, we wouldn't. I understand that, but on a deeper, more growth level for our eternal spirit, we have elected to be here at this time of great challenge. And do you know why? Because your own spirit believes he's strong enough to do it. Don't let that down. Rise up. Rise up and meet the challenge. Yeah.
And the other part of the question.
I forgot now. Kevin, what was the other part of your question? Oh, dealing with people who think you're bonkers, basically. Well.
Oh yeah, we do meet them.
Yes.
It's the different ways. We can either just ignore them, or we can play their game. Playing their game is typically not very successful, is it? But to give an example, on one occasion I was at a birthday party and we were sitting around the table eating, and the conversation was going on as it used. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so on. And there was a gentleman sitting next to me, and he was an engineer, one of those types. No. He was an engineer and things, and he talked about his work. And he turned around to me and said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm talking to dead people." And I just continued eating. I could just feel this. And then came, "I don't believe in that." No, I do believe you don't. And I do understand you, because I used to never believe in that weird stuff. Anyway, I went back to eating. Again, there was a moment of silence. But I don't believe it. No, and that's okay.
Yes.
And just left it there. And after a few moments, oh, but my wife, she's visiting one of those psychics. Oh, good for her. I continue eating. And I could feel he wanted to get into that debate. But because he didn't get the response he wanted, I was just, yeah, I understand you. Good for her. And suddenly he just shouted, daughter, this man is one of those too. I was like, oh my God. But actually, in the end of the day, he became quite interested because I don't care what you believe. I'm not going to push anything on you.
Mm. Exactly.
And I experienced, if you meet it that way, people will be like, they do expect when they are calling us frauds or whatever they call us, they expect that we will defend it. They expect that we will start to explain things. But I feel it's really not worth it. If they don't believe it, if they don't want to believe it, it's theirs. It's all theirs. They have their belief system. I have mine. So I believe sometimes, if not most times, all times, it's best just to say, oh, well, you have your belief system, I have mine. And that's the experience I have, is that often that I actually start to give them a bit of interest, because why don't he want to put that into my throat? I want to put my belief into his. But I'm not joking in that. So.
And also how you introduce that topic as well.
This
Sadly,
yes.
is a very true story. Lady turned up many years ago, bit of a state. What's the matter? I've just had a terrible experience on the bus. This man was so rude. I went, oh, yeah, come on in. All right, sat down. What happened? Well, I was just sat there and he started shouting at me, saying that I'm mad. And I said, what happened? She said, well, I could see his mother stood there and she started telling me things to tell him. So I told him. And I'm like, okay, now I'm beginning to see a bigger picture, right?
That's different story.
Maybe not a good place.
We're coming a little bit back to the ethics here.
Yeah.
We don't go around and just say to people, oh, I can see whatever here. And that both, when we're talking mediumship and psychic, we're not going also, oh, I can see, oh, you're not feeling very well today, are you? Oh, but I can see that, oh, one of your kids is really poorly. And we're not doing that, are we? And basically, we all have a bit of ethic. How many of you have read Another One's Diary?
Another One's Diary.
Another one's
Yeah.
done. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't do that, do we? Same way we're not reading other people's energy or other people's loved ones.
I'll put this down then.
Yeah.
But, sorry, very quickly, on the other side of the coin, something quite pertinent, especially the healers in the room. A lot of the time our psychism and our mediumship doesn't need validation, but it's there for your benefit. If you pick up off of somebody that they're feeling a bit down, you've got two options. Oh, I can see you're feeling down! Thank you! Or actually, you can just go, come on, love, what's the matter? A cup of tea? You don't need that validation. It's yours to use and utilise, and especially with the healers. You know, I'll give you a wonderful, wonderful example. A lady once giving healing to, and the mother just made her presence known, and all she said was she's lonely. I can handle it two ways. Oh, your mum came through, you know, that's me wanting validation as a medium, and that's not what that act was about. But mum's words, she was lonely, led into a conversation about, you know, how are you doing? Are you getting out much? Oh no, I've just moved and lost all my friends. Oh, all right, well, do you know we have a little group meets here every once in a while? And that's how it works. So not everything we get needs validation. It gives us the opportunity to practice being a spiritual being.
And becoming or being a spiritual being has nothing to do with training and education. That's about our behavior. Yeah. Close to time.
Yeah.
One quick last question. I can feel it.
The other empath.
I wanted to ask about the role of symbolism in mediumship, because I find personally, I tend to find symbolism is more and more in my messages, whether they're psychic or spiritual, and I just question sometimes whether, if I'm using symbolism in a spiritual message, is it correct? Does it make the message less authentic? Am I doing the right thing? Kind of thing. I just wondered what you thought.
Yeah, symbolism within a mediumship psyche, to me, it can be a very good part of our development. In the early stages with my students, I will get them through different exercises where we might work a little bit with symbols. Symbols can be anything. It can be colors. It can be whatever that comes in as a symbol. And there's different ways of working with symbols there. These days, I'm not really working with symbols as a medium, but it's I see it's quite a lot of mediums and psychics do within the development. To me, the challenge with symbols is when we're getting out the symbol, we are giving our opinion on the symbol, if that makes sense. So think about where does that symbol come from? It comes from, I believe the symbol comes from us. It's not coming from spirit, but we create that symbol out from the energy we feel. Does that make sense when I put it this way? And I have to, I want to say, that can be a good tool as a part of a development, but don't get into a state where, oh, I have this symbol, I have this symbol. So a symbol can, and you probably realize that at a time, that the symbol you had that day, oh, that meant so and so. Then you have another client. Give no sense to them, because the symbol is different. The same symbol means something different. So my suggestion is go into the energy of that symbol. What's behind the symbol? What is the message behind the symbol? Symbols can be useful sometimes. I know I've had that from early days in my development. When I see a yellow color, I know I'm going to talk about birthdays.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. It doesn't make any sense. I just know when I see a yellow color, I'm going to talk about birthday. But to find out why I'm going to talk about a birthday, I have to go behind the yellow color. need to go behind that, go into that energy. So, okay, the birthday I'm talking about here is maybe grandfather's, and it's in October the 9th, because that was I can't see that from the yellow color. Just give me an idea. Oh, what kind of subject am I going to talk to? But so it's kind of part of many mediums development. I don't know how far you have developed that, but try to look at that way. That's a part of your journey, and accept that it's not going to be a part of your mediumship in the future. Okay. Okay. I hope that it makes sense when I put it this way, but it's like we can use, like we talked about, ribbons, cars, and different things to help us focus on certain areas. Sometimes I know sometimes we can have as a medium, oh, I see my own grandfather. It's not because my own grandfather is here, but grandfather is a symbol of maybe it's another grandfather coming, or a person that in energy reminds me of my grandfather. So I'm going into that symbol and looking into that symbol. What is the meaning in it? And different from time to time is my experience. Okay?
Yeah.
So thank you for the question.
Can I?
Yes, yes, of course you can.
It's going to be barred for me, you've got two levels. You've got symbology and symbolism. Symbology would be going into hierarchical things like the Yggdrasil, the tree of life, and what that get me remembered. So historical symbol. You know, even we were talking about this the other night. The swastika. The origins of that is it was a symbol for the sun. So we can go back in through our lineage for symbology. So if we start receiving those things, the onus is on us. Google. Good old Google. Symbolism is something that you work out with your team in spirit. Rather like, you know, you hear mediums say, oh, they're showing me daffodils, so I know we've got an anniversary in February. That medium never saw a daffodil and a sign saying this is for February. That medium sat there and sat with spirit and sat with their team and wrote down the months and wrote down symbols to represent. So it's like a spiritual shorthand. A horse. General concept of a horse is strength. Symbology, the symbol for strength in symbology is a lion. But in symbolism, so symbolism is like a spiritual shorthand, but don't ever be passive in your mediumship. Don't sit there going, show me a symbol, because you might get shown a symbol and have no idea. There you go, you wanted a symbol, there we go.
But
Doesn't mean anything, but you say, right, I want a symbol for strength, I want a symbol for a marriage, I want a symbol for anything, a birthday coming up, I want a symbol for a passing recently. And you will get those, because it is a spiritual shorthand.
Okay, thank you.
Right, but symbology,
like my yellow color.
yeah,
Yeah,
symbology, you need to go back into history.
And you can all, if you don't work with it, the recipient, I have tried this many times with many good mediums I've been working with, and if they say, your father comes with a dove, a white dove, I see a white dove flying, I don't know what it is. But the medium says, so you know what it is? And I was like, no, I don't. Well, he's just showing me a white dove, and it's flew away. And when I walk out of the room, I have no idea. So, but there is a message in it, and this is quite obvious. But you know, the recipient will say, "Ooh." And then we try to, as a medium, try to go in our brains. What was it? and then so try to get around it. Don't lose it, but try to get behind it and see what is it, because it's very easy just if it's a sensitive message.
Yeah.
It's sometimes better to say something like that, because then you're not attached to it or feeling it itself. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yes. So try to get back behind it.
And again, we are all working different. We are
Yes.
all working different. We are all individuals, and our way of working will be different, and our connection with spirit will be different. So if you find a way to work with symbols that really works, use it. But be careful how you're working with it, and always look at what is the information behind it. As I said before, the message can be different from one recipient to another on the same symbol. It might be like birthdays you want to talk about, but what is it about the birthday? Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Dun, dun.
Okay. Yeah, I think we are heading time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jack and Lola. I'm going to set the clocks back 2 hours tonight, so you miss your plane tomorrow and have to stay on for another week.
Yes.
Now we're feeling better.
Now
Everyone's
we're
got to
feeling
go
better,
home.
but it was nice to being sick with you.
Oh, well,
Yes.
oh, okay.
He's a good guy to be sick together with.
Thank you. Interesting evening. I hope you understand the concept of these nights. You know, it's just to come together to talk, listen, take it away. If it sits well with you, great. If it doesn't sit well with you, you know what? Great, because you've got your own understanding. But I think it's really good to bring in. We will theme these nights on a topic. So the first Wednesday of the February is the 1st of February, and the topic that night will be home circles, because that's something that's coming very much back into the energy within the movement. There's a lot to learn, to understand, ideas, thoughts, types of services, a huge amount of information from that topic. So we'll keep these going through the year, see how they're going. Great response, so lovely to see you all, so lovely. Thank you. And yeah, we'll keep them going. The next Wednesday, so the first Wednesday of each month, will be the awareness night, so like tonight. Second Wednesday of each month will be a demonstration of evidential mediumship. So next Wednesday we've got lovely Angie Freeland who will be with us demonstrating evidential mediumship. Third Wednesday of each month will be an open circle. This is not a mediumistic development time. This is a time just to learn to start to sit, to start to be in the power, to sit with spirit, to unfold yourself, ready for your next step. Fourth Wednesday of each month will be Spiritual Cafe, where we open up the topics and the forum to wider areas of spirituality, to be able to talk about, understand, see any correlation with spiritualism, but just to, you know, it's really good to talk, and it's great to sit and listen and be able to communicate like this. So I hope you've enjoyed tonight. I know I've loved having these two over. My house is going to be very empty tomorrow night, so I hope you feel really guilty. And it's been wonderful seeing you all here. Wonderful too, everybody at home who's joined in. Thank you. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Typisk Lola igen. Hej det.
Nej.
Thank you very much.